pulling it, much easier than pushing. She comes right along. One of the things I'm starting to really like about this bike is that there's a lot of intricacies to it, I guess, that early Harleys have and that I'm unfamiliar with, so I'm getting to learn. The front looks pretty straightforward, regular axle like that Fat Boy. So I can get this thing apart and do the wheel bearings, pack them, change the seals. Seals look standard. The rear, I've read a little bit. I've gotten a few comments on how this thing goes together. I just don't quite understand it. So I'm gonna take it apart and see if I can't figure that out. Like I said, the front axle is fairly straightforward Harley. Looks like the same setup that is on my Fat Boy, so I guess probably similar to until they went to the Brembo calipers. So we'll just pop the calipers off and get the axle out, and that should be pretty much it. Get a good look at the brake pads too. Oh, plenty of meat. Yeah, plenty of meat on these old pads. So that's good. It's a good sign. These will be off for a few days while I get the tire done and still wait for the rear tire to come in. So for safekeeping, it all bolts back together. So I'll do that for now, and I'll bungee them up at some point, but that'll work for the moment. Get the other side done. The other side's in same basic condition. So we'll just screw it together and let it hang. And then let's see the condition of the speed sensor too, because like I said, the original owner, he said that this thing was never accurate, always gave him problems, and he had replaced this, he had replaced the cable. So I'll lube that up and inspect this, and hopefully when it goes together with the new instrument cluster, the speedometer will actually work. So like I said, the front end is straightforward. We'll get this nut off, washers and stuff, and then, ooh, lock washer's kind of funky. And yeah, pinch bolts for this cap. A little snug, but that's fine. All right. We'll just get the cap completely out of the way, make life easier. There we go. That should be. Let's see where the screwdriver is. The axle should be free to, yeah, all right. So, there we go. Wheels off. The axle's a little crusty. It's got, some, I don't know, anti-seize or something on it. So I'll clean that up, lube it. Sensor seems free. Probably not, still not a bad idea to lube it up, but seems like it's working okay. Fits in the groove like it's supposed to. This fell out though. I'm not sure where this came from, but I'm gonna start looking for where this could have fit. Oh, I think I found it. Let's see. Yep. Okay, that was a little bit of a worry, because when the wheel dropped, this piece dropped, and I did not know where it went. So, problem resolved, crisis averted. Yeah, definitely never sees. So I'm gonna be careful with that, because never sees seems to get everywhere and you can't remove it. Good stuff, but just makes a mess on everything. So same as with the brakes, I tend to put everything back when it's gonna sit apart for a few days, just so I don't lose it and I don't forget how it goes back together. Yes, I do have a parts service manual, not parts manual, but also stubborn. I'm one of those guys that oftentimes doesn't read the instructions until after I can't figure out how to put it together. So there's that. Now for the good stuff, the side that I don't know how it comes apart. 1.125" on one side on the nut, 15/16 on the other side, and it is, wow, okay, that was actually ridiculously loose. Little unnerving that it took almost zero effort to pull that nut off. I mean, I don't know what the spec is. I'll have to check the manual, but I have to think the spec is higher than absolutely nothing. So let's see what that says, and hopefully that's not indicating that there's any other problems in here. Interesting. I'm seeing. All right. Starting to make some sense. So relatively straightforward. We're just gonna yoke it out. It's down. And the sprocket did not stay up, which is one of the things that I was curious. I thought that it may have. Unless maybe it stays up when it's in the enclosure, which I'm not using. So I'm less worried about that. But that was good. So we'll treat this, I guess, just like every normal bike with a chain. We'll just let it hang on the swing arm, get this wheel free from the brake, and try to get a good look at how this sprocket attaches. I'm curious to see what options there might be for different sprockets. Also, I'm going to check the tooth count because I'm getting conflicting information, whether it's 46 or 51. If it's 46, awesome. If it's 51, I'm going to start doing some digging to try to find a lower tooth sprocket for some better highway RPMs, you know? So here's a cool bit of information that I just learned. So this piece acts as a normal spacer, right? That you'd have on all the wheels, but it's expanded to then hold the enclosure, right? And it looks like the size and the seal is the same as a standard seal, but it's installed in reverse. So it's trying to keep the oil in the enclosed chain from going into the axle, which is kind of cool. Also means I should be able to flip this around when I installed a new seal, so that it'll keep moisture. Now that the chain is no longer enclosed, it'll keep moisture from going into the axle. So that was a nice surprise. And standard 5-bolt, I'd have to, I guess, measure the offset, see if I can get a sprocket with the correct offset. That'd be a score. Let's do the same thing with this rear axle as we did with the front. Pop it back together, spacers in the proper locations so I don't forget, and nothing gets lost. And nice and simple. So going back together should be a piece of cake. Okay, that's the rear axle. Rear brakes seem to have a ton of meat on them too. So I'm wondering if the brakes were serviced not long before this bike was put out of commission. So I knew this was going to be the hardest part. I now have a disabled 1984 FLT Tour Glide, and I can't just leave it here for however many days it's going to be until the other tire comes in and I manage to get the tires mounted and whatnot. So I gotta let it down onto this Dolly. Fingers crossed that this works. I'm gonna go nice and easy, and hopefully, all right. The front is on the Dolly. Lower the back, ratchet strap, hold it down, and I should be able to push it in and out until the tires come. So that was went better than expected for sure. Okay, ratchet strap, it's tied down. Perfect to be able to move it in and out of the garage. One of the things that I learned today, my big takeaway from this whole thing, is that I am glad that People in the comments advise me to ditch the enclosure and to go with an open chain, because if this thing comes apart the way it did today, which is you have to remove at least the lower part of the enclosure to take the wheel off, you get a flat tire or something like that, what a pain that would be. So yeah, very happy to have gone this route. Hopefully it pans out in the long run to be the right choice, but for now, at the moment, yeah, definitely the right decision. All right, and that's that for today. Should be able to roll this thing nice and gently into place. Maybe not quite the easiest thing, but she'll go. She'll make it there. All right. Well, until the other tire shows up, that'll be it for now. Thank you again for watching and commenting, and yeah, liking and subscribing too. It's been a huge help. So until next time, that's where we're at. Good night.